Hello, and welcome to the Joss Brown Podcast. With over 40 years of combined financial planning experience, we will discuss our favorite topics, concepts, and stories.
Welcome to Joss Brown Podcast. I'm Dan Joss. This is my partner, Catherine Brown. Today we have two guests. On the left is Philip Saunders, and on the right is Deven Joss. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Philip was hired 2 years ago.
Yep.
Graduate of Virginia Tech. Passed a CFP exam in the fall, and just last month, finished the 2-year experience requirement to have the CFP designation, Certified Financial Planner Professional.
That's right.
And Deven was hired last May. He's finished 1 year at the company now from Liberty University, business degree, and is now taking an advanced degree at Liberty also, Master's in Financial Planning. So what do you think about, was it the football games between Tech and Liberty have gone 1-1, right, in the last 2 years?
I'm afraid so, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, we put a hurting on Liberty this year, so excited for that. And continued dominance. We're excited for continued dominance as well, yeah.
Hopeful?
I'm hopeful, yeah. Liberty's got a new coach, so should be good for us.
Do you sit on opposite sides of the stadium, or do you take turns together?
Yeah, it was opposite, yeah.
Well, when I was at the Liberty game, and he was there also, he was way up in the bleachers, and I was down on the field.
Yeah.
So
Liberty tends to push the visitors way up high, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
The same thing Tech does at their games, right?
That's right,
Push
yeah.
into the corners.
All in the corner, yeah.
Good. So, Philip, you've just finished 2 years. You're a newly minted CFP professional. Is that something you've always wanted to do since you were a child, or is that something that just came along, or how did you become interested in financial planning as a profession?
It's a good question. It's a long question. It could be a long answer, but yeah, I grew up in Central Virginia, so grew up on a farm there in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So financial planning wasn't on the radar for a long time. So yeah, just growing up, worked on the farm, helped out there, and then took a little gap year in between high school and college, and did a kind of an internship with the Future Farmers of America. So traveled the state and a little bit of the country and even the world during, at that time. Decided to go to Virginia Tech because that made sense in terms of, where my family goes, where I felt comfortable, and also just the ag piece as well. So felt that might be my path. But once I got there, I just kind of decided to go the math route. Got a good math mind and analytical mind, so decided to do that. And then I found financial planning through that. And there was a guy that came and talked to our group and told us about the job and what it meant, and how you serve clients. And I thought that might be a good option. And then I had an interview with a guy in Charlottesville, and he told me about how he runs his firm and why he likes it. And one of the things he told me was that people tell their financial planners more than they tell their wives and their pastors. And I was like, wow, that's kind of scary in one respect, but also it's a big responsibility and a big way you can help people. And so I ultimately decided to go that route and got the education requirement for the CFP at Tech. So that worked out, and then, like you said, took the CFP and came on out here.
So have you found that to be true, that clients tell you more than they tell their spouse or their pastor in the 2 years you've had experience?
Catherine and I were just talking about that, yeah. That's happened before, yeah. So I don't know about pastors, but sometimes more than they tell their spouses, so yeah.
I remember long ago in another place where I also did financial planning was when one spouse took a bathroom break, the other would tell me about the secret account.
That's right.
Puts us in a dilemma.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any secret accounts yet, but.
And well, I guess it's not secret, but every family does their finances different. You have that experience too, right? It could be a joint account, or it could be I've got my money, you've got your money, and you do your things with yours, and we'll do some things with shared money. And so every client does it differently.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Deven, now you've finished a year of adulting
Yep.
with
Yeah.
paying taxes and working and commuting. How
Cooking.
cooking and paying rent at the apartment.
Buy my groceries.
Is it everything you thought it would be?
Yeah, I guess so. Time's kind of flying by. It's already been a year. But usually you just, like, back at school, you'd have assignments and then friends and just so many different things going on. And now it's kind of just work takes up a lot of the day. But then you kind of have the rest to just, like, I'm doing school right now and then being an adult. So it's just two different things that I'm still learning. So.
And tell us what you're doing in school.
Yeah, so I just started in February my master's in financial planning. So I didn't get the education requirements in my undergrad because I didn't do financial planning in undergrad. So I'm getting those education requirements, taking tax classes, estate planning, insurance. That'll be next semester. But for right now, I'm doing an accounting class, merger class, business valuation, just different things. But yeah, it's a 1-year program. I'm excited to get that done. It's been a lot of work, very challenging, more than I thought it would be. But yeah, I'm excited to get that done and move on to the CFP stuff.
So, like me, your undergraduate program didn't qualify you to sit for the CFP
Yeah.
exam. So, the master's program does do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you'll hopefully sit for the CFP exam.
Yeah, I should be done with the master's by the end of this year. Then I'll do the CFP cram course, and then by probably this time next year, sit for the exam.
And I think maybe, Michelle told us about her experience, but is it still around a 55% pass rate? It's not like an easy exam.
Yeah, it's about 60,
it's 60.
sometimes, and sometimes it's 50.
Okay.
Depends on the year.
Okay.
Yep.
Of the, either of you, of the several parts of the CFP breadth of knowledge, what is your favorite?
It's a good question. I would say my favorite is the investments piece because that's the most fun to watch and keep track of. That's good, but also I did very well at tech in the tax piece, so that's another part that I guess just makes sense to me. I wouldn't say I have fun doing taxes, but it makes sense and how everything goes on the return and what have you. So.
Well, in your role, you don't have to do taxes.
Yeah.
But you work
we did that in the course.
Okay.
But yeah,
we work with many tax professionals,
Mm-hmm.
and we recommend tax professionals if a client doesn't have a good experience with theirs,
Right.
or they don't want to do theirs anymore. That's typically how it works.
Yeah.
What experience have you had with that piece of it with clients?
Well, yeah, I mean, all clients want to, I won't say all, I would say most clients want to minimize their tax consequences. So I feel like that's a big part of everything we do, whether that's an IRA contribution or 401k contribution or a distribution of those as well. Or if, it's not in a tax deferred account, then maybe we're dealing with a taxable account, and the fund we pick matters, and also when we buy the fund, when we sell the fund matters. All those things. Gifting the fund matters with taxes. You can go into charity and giving away stocks or funds to minimize taxes. So yeah, I think it impacts every piece of it. Yeah.
How many client tax returns have you reviewed?
It's a good question. I would say I've reviewed
A few, more than a few.
Yeah. I'm on 50 clients, and I'd say I've seen all of them. So yeah, and then we also do the projects. So
And I don't
over 50. Yeah.
Have you ever found a mistake on a tax return?
Yeah, we have. We have found mistakes on tax returns. Recently noticed a tax return that we looked at where they hadn't been taking their depreciation for their investment property, which is a big issue if you have investment property. basically every year that you own it, you can take a little bit of a deduction for the wear and tear on the building.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're missing that, that can be a problem. So
they amended returns?
yeah, so
Yeah.
they had to fix that.
So like we've spoken before, we review estate planning documents, we review tax returns, we review investments, kind of see where they're at.
Insurance as well.
Okay. Deven, you have a favorite of the centers or breadth of knowledge of the CFP?
I wouldn't say I have a favorite yet.
Not yet?
'Cause I'm still learning about the different kinds and stuff. But just learning from y'all's expertise has been fun. Just, Catherine knows a lot about insurance. Philip and Dan been doing investments a lot recently, and Philip kind of runs the investment planning meetings. So I find those, he's very knowledgeable in it, and so I get to learn a lot. And just being in the meetings that I've been in so far, learning how important different insurance and tax documents and all that going on. So I wouldn't say I have a favorite yet. But the more I learn, it's been fun.
Yeah, this program you're in is going to give you a
Yeah.
quick overview, and you'll find something. And I say it fairly regularly. We don't know all the answers, but we know people that know the answers. And we'll get back to you.
That's it.
I've enjoyed having Philip on the investment committee and helping with that. One of the topics that comes up a lot is tax loss harvesting. Can you tell the viewers what that is and what that means and how you help maximize tax loss harvesting in the investment portfolios, just in a general sense?
Yeah, so that's part of our agenda every meeting, is to look over the taxable accounts, as we were saying, and going over which funds have a gain and which funds have a loss. And so part of what we do is rebalancing portfolios. That means selling what's up, buying what's down, and the aim is, of course, to sell those gains and realize those and keep those, and then buy the dip of something that's down in hopes that goes up in the future. So one way we can do that is we can do a tax loss harvest. And so that's a fund that has a loss on it. You sell that fund and you take that loss and you can realize it on your tax return, and then you can buy a similar fund that's got similar stocks or similar bonds or what have you in that same taxable account. And so that's a tax benefit to the client. And so we do that a lot. Another way we can do that is we can sell that fund, we can do that swap, and then we can also sell something that has a gain on it. So something that's had gains over the years, instead of just selling that gain and having the tax on it, you can kind of offset the gain with the loss. And so that's kind of what we do, yeah.
It's especially useful if somebody has a huge position for a company they may have worked for, like Microsoft or Apple or something like that, right?
Yeah. A large position, concentrated position, or low cost based position.
Yeah.
So we'll have Philip back for a tax podcast in the future.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, after you work, Deven here said 8 hours of work, and then he has the rest of the day off. What do you guys enjoy doing?
Right now, since it's getting warm outside, I enjoy going to play golf. Trying to walk 9 holes after work. That was my big hobby.
It's tough to do in November in Virginia.
Yeah. Very windy and cold and rainy. Not fun.
And dark.
Yeah. But
so golf.
Yeah,
you'd say you're a pretty good golfer then?
I would say I'm a above average golfer. I golfed in high school and college. I was president of the club golf team there. But yeah, I just find it enjoyable, and one thing I like about it is that almost every time I go, I'm either with friends or I join random groups and meet them, usually old people, but just like picking their brain and talking to them is pretty fun. So.
Yeah, I did that recently as well. That was my first time ever playing with.
Oh, you golfed, or you
group.
picked an old person's brain?
Yeah, well, I golfed, but I picked a young person's brain. Okay. There you go. Yeah. But that was my first time doing that, so it was interesting. You always think stranger danger, I guess, and you try to get your own group, but it's fun to
not on the golf
play
course.
with new people. Yeah, I mean it's just fun to meet new people. So.
Yeah,
it's a good area to do that.
In this part of Virginia, typically people are from somewhere else.
That's
So
what it
Yeah.
seems like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guys I played with were locals, but yeah, it's interesting with the influence of the military, and also I feel like the shipyard brings in a lot of people of different walks, so it's a cool little area. Plus we have the water, so I feel like hopefully this summer we'll be able to enjoy that a little bit more. And
are you going to go
I don't
surfing
know.
or swimming?
Yeah,
or what?
well,
Boating,
we-
fishing?
at least beaching. You know?
Beaching?
Yeah.
Beaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so hopefully in the future we'll be able to enjoy that a little more. But yeah.
All right, so Deven, maybe not this year, but maybe next year, if you have the opportunity for a vacation. Philip, describe your ideal vacation.
My ideal vacation. Did you already answer this?
No, he isn't.
Okay.
He's working on his
You're
classes.
thinking
He
about
won't
it.
have to.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I don't have
that's
time
right,
for
that's right.
vacations.
Well, I'm a golfer as well. I wouldn't say I'm a big golfer or a good golfer, but I am a golfer nonetheless. And I would say traveling to one of those big tournaments would be a lot of fun. You know, like the Masters coming up.
Yep.
Of course. You know, I'd love to go to that. That would be fun. And as we said, I also just like beaching. So my family used to go down to Charleston a lot, and I love that area, kind of old town USA, and
Yep.
and I like that as well. So.
Yep. Catherine, what's your favorite vacation?
I like going to new places. So this summer I'm going to Greece. I'm excited about that.
Oh, Greece is really an old place, though.
It'll be a new place for me.
It's been around for thousands of years.
So an ideal vacation for me is a new adventure, seeing
Good.
something new. Yeah. So I understand Philip speaks Spanish. Have you ever traveled anywhere Spanish speaking?
Yeah, I did a study abroad in Peru, so that was a lot of fun. It was cut short with COVID, but it was a fun trip nonetheless. So I'll have to go back down there and kind of finish it up. Haven't got to see Machu Picchu yet, so
Wow.
yeah, still need to go there. So I'll be back someday.
Good. What advice do you have? And Philip, you and I, a couple of months ago, spoke to the Virginia Tech Financial Planning Association. So I think there's probably 35 students there. If one of those audience members were here, what advice would you give them about looking for an ideal job or considering this as a profession?
Yeah, I think one of the pieces of advice I gave was go with your gut, because I feel like you can kind of think through all the alternatives, but your gut is really the thing that, you know, you're thinking beyond what I guess your conscious mind is, and so your gut's like your unconscious, and you can figure out where you really want to be based on kind of what your gut tells you. So I'd say that's a huge part of it, is just go with your gut, and where do you feel comfortable, and where are people around you saying that, you know, that makes sense. So I felt like when I was interviewing here and thinking about coming to this area, a lot of my mentors and a lot of my family members, you know, said that makes sense, and I also just kind of felt comfortable in this area and with this team. So that was a big part of it. In terms of the industry, financial planning it's all about the details. So yeah, I just go back to that and say, remember the details. You know, you measure twice, cut once, then measure again afterwards and make sure you did it right. That's a big thing. And one of the things I said to the group was, you know, everyone always thinks that some people are detail oriented and some people aren't. Well, I think you just have to choose to be detail oriented. You know, whether you are or you aren't, you know, you have to be. So.
Well, we were talking about that earlier with the credit report and the Social Security statements. It's part of what we tell our clients is just see what they're saying about you and make sure that it's right. You know,
Yeah.
take the time while you can to make it reflect accurately what actually happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Deven, you're an associate advisor as well as Philip. Can you tell me what you do for clients?
Yeah, so right now I have 30 or so clients that I'm working on. So just learning about them as I'm coming on to them, as Michelle and Philip are leaving. leaving those clients, not leaving the company. But learning about the client, where they're from, what they do for work, or if they're retired, and then figuring out how I can help prepare for those meetings coming up. Just making sure with the lead advisor that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or if new prospect clients are coming in, then I help with like the data gathering process, entering that into our financial planning softwares, making phone calls to custodians. That's been fun recently. But yeah, kind of just a lot of the background work, and I've enjoyed it.
So what things should a client bring to a meeting that will make it most efficient and good for conversation?
Yeah, so we ask clients to bring in estate planning documents, insurance documents, tax documents, like their Social Security, investment portfolios, just anything that they can either bring in person or upload to our financial systems. But the most information we can get, the better that we can help them at those first meetings. So I'd say that's pretty important.
Yeah, we have a fairly comprehensive list, and I like to say we have a little list, but it's it's everything. And then we say, share with us what you want us to know, and the more you share, the better the meeting will be. And ideally, you referred to it or alluded to it, we have a secure portal that they can put stuff up on it. But the more we have in advance of that meeting, the better the meeting will be.
So Philip, you are helping us a lot with investments and investment review and investment choices. One buzzword that's come up a lot is values-based investing and ESG investing. So can you tell our listeners what those are and how we try to respect those for our clients?
Yeah, so I'll take ESG first. I feel like that one's a little better known. So ESG is environmental, social, and governance. And so it's a mutual fund or an ETF or even those two mainly that try to choose stocks that treat the government that treat the environment well, or companies that treat their employees well, that just do good overall. And so a lot of clients prefer those, and so we'll pick out funds that work for those clients. Sometimes clients won't want a certain type of stock in their portfolio, so we try to find a fund that works for that. And then the values-based investing would be a lot of our clients are Christians, and so they want funds that kind of reflect those values. And so we've got a few funds that we know of that work, and so and we put those in the portfolios. The other piece of that would be for certain clients we can do separate accounts, and so instead of having a mutual fund where the mutual fund manager buys those stocks, you can have an account where you're individually holding individual stocks, and so it's even more customized to what the client needs and wants. So we have the opportunity to do that as well.
We'll have Philip back for an investment podcast. ESG and values-based investing as a whole, well, as Deven's learning, investing as a whole class, and it's a whole major, and it's a whole industry for some, and it's worth more than a 2-minute talk.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Deven went with us down to the Kingdom Advisors Conference twice since he started with us, right? So what did you enjoy about that?
So I've been 2 times now. It's just a different atmosphere, I guess, being surrounded by only Christians, or mostly Christians, but seeing just from their perspective on how they deal with clients or deal with investments. Some of them, they don't use the biblically focused investments, and then some do. So just kind of hearing their thought processes of bringing it up to clients. So it's kind of just really cool to see how everyone does it when we meet down there, all 2,000 of us. So, yeah.
It's a lot of folks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in Orlando in the winter, so that's the nice part of it as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Anything else? It's a short intro.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Good. So we had Deven and Philip, two associate advisors at Joss Brown, and we'll have them back on future podcasts to talk about different things.
Great.
Good.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for having us.